I love to analyze movies and TV shows. Can you tell? Whenever I watch something, I always like to dig in and see what makes it tick. Why are the characters acting like this? How did we get to this point? All that sort of stuff. Of course, it gets a lot harder when there are things that don't really require or need examination, but you feel like you should do it anyways. I mean, come on, Kappa Mikey has to have some secrets to it! But then there are those movies and shows that actively encourage you to analyze what they have to offer. Your experience is enhanced by sitting down and thinking about what you just saw. And the more you reflect on it, the better time you'll have when you watch it again and again and again and again and so forth. The biggest example I can think of this is one of my favorite movies of all time, Coraline. So Coraline is most often my second favorite movie. I say that because sometimes I'm just really in a mood for this movie and it becomes my favorite. Sorry, Psycho, you're only my favorite movie 90% of the time. And to be honest, I kind of owe this movie a huge debt of gratitude. Before the other father video we made took off like crazy, we were stuck at about 700 subscribers with barely getting 500 views on each video. But now, that's really changed. The other father video was at the time of recording almost at 600,000 views, and our subscriber count is this. So as a way of saying thank you to something that has no sentience, I'm gonna go back to this movie one more time and tell you why exactly I love it. Of course, we could talk about the artistry and the characters and the music and all that sort of stuff, but a lot of people have already done that, so let me give you my personal take. I want to tell you why Coraline is the perfect film for movie analysts like myself. So, like we've already established, on the surface level, Coraline is a very enjoyable movie. It's got strong characters, amazing actors, great music, and all put together in a really compelling story. More often than not, on your first viewing, you're gonna be sitting there going, I hope Coraline's gonna make it, I hope she's gonna be okay! But then you go back to watch it a second time and you pick up on a bunch of things that you didn't really see the first time. Coraline is a movie that leaves a lot of things up to the imagination. We get the basics explained, but some of the deeper aspects like how the villain came to be, what exactly happened to the other ghost children, what are the other family made of, all that sort of stuff is entirely up for you to decide. It's not like V3 where it cheaps out on the mystery, or not like The Cell where it just throws in all this pretentious garbage that just screams, ask me what it means, we're important, we have all these cool things to offer. Coraline is none of that. If anything, I'd consider it more like Rashomon. You ever heard of this movie? Well, okay, so if you haven't, let me explain. Rashomon is this old Japanese film about a murder mystery. But the weird thing is, we never really find out what the answer is. We don't know what exactly happened. Everyone who has a recounting of the events has their own bias and their own agenda to push. Even the victim can't be trusted. And yes, they talk to the victim, it's a long story. So the entire point of the movie is to sit back and think, who's right? Who has the closest version to what actually happened? Coraline is the exact same way. Nothing is outright explained, so it's up to you to figure it out. And the fans have done that a lot. I'm gonna go over some of the bigger mysteries that Coraline has to offer and a lot of popular fan theories. Now keep in mind, I didn't come up with any of these are just popular opinions. So first off is the dark realization that Spink and Forcible probably knew about the ghost children this whole time. That and the other mother and the other world and so forth. It wasn't just the cat. A lot of people pointed out the fact that all the bowls of taffy that they have basically align to the times when the ghost children disappeared. That, and they're also extremely flippant throughout the whole movie, and my personal favorite part, as soon as they hear that Mr. and Mrs. Jones disappear, they make this, the stone. They know what happened. Obviously, I mean, they don't seem scared, they don't even seem slightly bothered by the fact that these people that were supposed to take them to the opera just up and vanished, aside from the fact that they'll have to be their own ride. Is this the first reaction of two people that have no idea what's going on? I'd say no. Now going back to my Coraline bread and butter here, let's talk about the other father. I brought this theory up in the other father video, but I'm gonna do it again because why not? Seems fitting. So when Coraline is going through the game and trying to get the eyes of the ghost children, she goes up against other Spink and other Forcible when they're this weird taffy monster thing, and goes up against other Bobinski, who turns out to be a giant pile of rats. They try to attack Coraline, preventing her from finishing the game. The other father does not do that. Despite the fact that he, like the others, has been completely transformed, he decides to keep doing what he was doing throughout the entire movie, that being warning Coraline and trying to help her.
Don't wanna hurt
Many people, like myself, have speculated that this is because he was not designed to lure Coraline, but to love her. When you get down to it, what were other Spink, Forcible, and Bobinsky's purposes in this world? It was to lure Coraline there through a sense of wonder and amazement. They were meant to be entertainment fixtures, not friends or family or loved ones in any way. Why should she care about them? She doesn't care about the real versions of them, so why not make them spectacles? As for Other Father, he's meant to be a member of the family. He's gonna be there to help Coraline through thick and thin, cheering her up when she's down, making her never ever feel bored, or at least that's what it seems. In actuality, he also is meant to just be a lure. But the other mother didn't really make him the same way. She did her job well, a little too well. And you could even say the same for Wybie. He serves a different role than the other father, but he's still got an important one. He's supposed to be Coraline's friend, the one who's supposed to go see all these spectacles with her and be equally amazed. So it makes sense for him to also care about Coraline in the same way. Just like the other father, he tries to get her out of there and keep her safe. And also, yes, Wybie was not in the book, so this was entirely made by the filmmakers. Unlike the other father, whose theory was basically confirmed in the book. There's also the theory that the other mother might have to sew buttons into Coraline's eyes in order to do anything to her at all. It makes sense for her to just jump Coraline right from the get-go and eat her soul or whatever she does, but the buttons seem to be almost like an agreement or a contract to become a part of the other world. And as we know, the other world is 100% controlled by the other mother. Every single resident or plant or bug or whatever was not only created, but for the most part operated by her. They're basically puppets. She can do whatever she wants to them and with them because they're hers.
I thought you'd like him more if he spoke a little less. So I fixed him.
So he can't talk at all?
Nope.
Examples of this are, of course, the mutations that we talked about earlier, the fact that she can influence all the people in the other world to do whatever she wants, and actually that doesn't even go for just the people, the plants and the animals too. Except the cat, he doesn't count. Notice how everything is really nice and friendly to Coraline when there's an agenda, but as soon as the game starts, everything is out to get her? That's because of the other mother. So, if Coraline got the eyes on her too, that would also mean that she would become under the other mother's influence, meaning that the other mother would be completely free to destroy her life. And then finally, the one that scares me the most is the fact that everything that happened to Coraline can easily happen again. The other mother doesn't die at the end of the movie. In fact, the only thing that dies is one of her hands. The rest of her is still in the other world, waiting for another kid to come on by. Now, it might be another few decades, but so long as a new kid steps foot in the Pink Palace, it's all over. She can get right back to her old business. Of course, she does say, don't leave me, I'll die without you," but she survived decades without a meal before. What's another few years gonna do to her? Let's go back to the taffy again. Look at the dates when the children disappear. Look at those years. Now, anybody going without a meal for that long would most certainly die. But as we've established, the other mother isn't exactly normal. She can definitely survive for this long. She was probably just desperate and said something in the heat of the moment or tried to get Coraline to come back through some desperate means. And just because the key was thrown away doesn't mean that the door will never be accessible again. People can find a way. The other mother can find a way. And I guess in the meantime, she can just snack on some cocoa beetles from Zanzibar. Which is weird because she normally doesn't eat anything because she can only eat children. So why does she eat that? I don't know, that was just something that's always kind of bothered me about the movie, but it's kind of inconsequential, so let's just move on. That's just scratching the surface on all those theories about Coraline out there, trust me. People have and will go on for hours trying to dissect this thing. Like I said, it's up to you to determine all of these things. We'll never find the true answer because the filmmakers designed it so that there really is no answer. That's what keeps the fans engaged, that's what keeps the community going. We're always trying to complete this chase that has no end. We're gonna find the truth someday, even if we have to completely create it ourselves. Basically every scene in Coraline is ripe for the analyzing, so what are you waiting for? As soon as this video's done, please go watch it again so we can get some more theories out there. The more the merrier. Well folks, thanks for watching the video. What do you guys think? Do you think that those theories hold water? What are your own personal Coraline theories? Comment below and let me know because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Real quick, I'd like to thank our Patreon executive producers, Reziel, Leaf Razor, Sophie Burgers, Azarius, and Tanner Kapishki. If you too would like your name read at the end of every Media Mementos video, then consider donating to our Patreon, which has a link in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and remember, on Media Mementos, when you come around exploring, we'll never ever ever make it boring.